Welcome to Life Full of Zest. I am in my most favorite place in the entire world. I am so excited to be here, and today we are going to be running through a recovery session. This particular session was a request by one of our subscribers. So John, this one's for you. It was a request to do a full body rolling session. So today I'm going to be taking you through a rolling class that rolls out your body from your back and all the way down to your limbs. I'm going to be running you through the different positions that you can place yourself over the roller. So all you need today is a roller. If you don't have one, we have included a link in the description below so that you can order one of your very own rollers. Let's get straight into it, starting in the center of our mat. And what I want you to do is just place the roller at the edge of your mat. We're going to work our way down from our scap. So we're just starting about midway between our shoulder blades or scap muscles. And I want you to make sure, even though we're not necessarily doing Pilates today, I still want you to make sure that you maintain a good core activation and you're not hyper-extending your back when you're doing this. You're sucking in that core, and we are going to start just placing and interlacing our hands behind our head, and we're slowly just going to allow that neck to drop down all the way and slowly back up. As you can see, while I'm doing this, I'm maintaining a core activation and keeping that pelvic positioning nice and neutral, and I'm not doing anything in my lower back. This is all upper back work. And let's do two more, and slowly down and slowly back up, and last one, all the way down and all the way back up. We're slowly going to bring this a centimeter lower. So we're just working our way down the back, but we're loosening ourselves up from the top all the way down. We're going to interlace our hands behind that head and slowly leaning down, keeping that pelvic control, keeping that pelvic position, just allowing that stretch and that loosening in that upper part of your back and neck. I don't want you to force it, to keep your elbows in your periphery and down. From here, we're just going to hold in a neutral position, neck in neutral, and we're going to lift our arms up towards the ceiling, or in my case, a beautiful blue sky. And you're just slowly going to bring your arms down into a T position and back up and overhead and reaching. Now you can reach a little bit more and slowly back up, and we're going to do 4 of these. Please, if you do have neck problems or neck issues, this one I would rather you not do. I don't want you overstraining that neck. And last one, we're going to reach and slowly back up. We're going to take the roller, bring it a little. Now we are below those scaps, about 2 centimeters below those scaps, mid back. But just make sure, again, you don't want to hyperextend that back. You're drawing that pubic bone in. I'd rather you over pull your pelvis in than hyperextend, all right? So really just maintain that positioning. Don't want any pressure onto that lower back. You're going to slowly interlace those hands behind your head and inhale and slowly lower down. Keeping that pelvic positioning, you make sure that you're maintaining that activation. So even though we're doing a recovery and rolling set, you'll actually find that you're getting a little bit of a core activation into that belly of yours. So just make sure you are keeping that activation, very, very important. And all the way down and hold for 3, 2, 1, and slowly back up. We're going to bring those arms at a 45-degree angle, palms facing each other, and just reaching down as far as you feel comfortable and extending arms overhead, just in line with those ears, and back to T-point all the way down. Allow the scaps to squeeze together, just getting a stretch in those shoulders, allowing the different portions of that shoulder capsule to just loosen up wherever you are tight. We're all different, as I said. And please, if you do have neck pain, we're not doing this section either. And back down and slowly back. From here, I'm going to take you through rolling your body out. Firstly, start glutes and then work the way down the limb. So we're going to start into that QL area and then slowly work our way down. So we're going to start with our right hand sides of our body. And I want you to just place that roller on the upper part, just above that back or area of your hip. You're going to lift your left leg over and around. You're going to straighten your other leg across, and you're using this leg to do all the work. All right, so you're just going to roll down and slowly back up, and we're just working small little portion of that section of the body, and you're just rolling up and down. And you will find that this section is a little bit tight. So if you find a little small knot as you're rolling up and down, you just linger and cross friction just a little bit, just to work through and loosen up that muscle. And rolling up and down. Keep going. And we're just going to start turning onto, we're just going to change the angle slightly. Now we're lifting that leg over onto the other side, and we're just rolling up and down. I want you to just lift that leg off the ground slightly, just so that you can roll up and down onto that glute max area. And like I said, if we find a knot, you'll stop and then just cross friction and loosen up that region. From here, we're going to turn back over, but now, as you can see, we're going a little bit down that leg. Leg goes back over the other leg, and you're just slowly going to roll up and down. And as you see, we're just doing little sections at a time. We are slowly loosening as we go down, and again finding that little spot and cross frictioning. You never want to go straight to the completely tight area. You want to loosen up the sections above and below that pain area before you go onto it. So like I said, as you can see, we're just working our way down that leg and slowly down, and a few centimeters lower to do that same thing. As you can see, this leg's doing all the work, and I'm stabilizing with those other hands. All right, so keep going. You might find certain areas will be more tight than other areas. So if you do find that tightness a little bit overwhelming, you can just increase the weight onto there, as opposed to putting all the weight onto your roller. All the way down and up. Keep going. Most runners or anyone who really does weight-bearing type sport will find at their iliotibial band, that ITB, will be quite tight. So generally this is quite a painful area to roll out. But if you do start rolling from the top all the way down, you'll find that that pain isn't as bad. It's a little bit more bearable. All right, let's turn over onto our posterior side, our back area. We're going to place the ball, the roller, a little bit more to the center of the mat, and we are going to place it just below that sits bone. You're going to, again, either, like I said, placing all your weight onto the roller, or if you are feeling a little bit tender, then you can just transfer the weight and let this leg bear more of the weight, and you are going to place that leg on the ground. You're going to start just for now rolling backwards and forwards. From here, we're going to place that leg into a figure 4 position to allow more weight onto that area, and you're just rolling up and down. We're working our way down the leg again, so we just got to keep going, placing our hands in a comfortable position and just using those arms to roll ourselves forwards and backwards, and just lowering that roller down and rolling up and down. Just make sure you don't go too far down behind the back of your knee. You want to keep 2 centimeters away from that crease line of the back of your knee, just rolling up and down. And again, if you find any form of tightness, you're just going to cross friction into those regions. And before we move on to the anterior side, the front part of our bodies, we are going to continue with the other leg. So let's start as we did that very similar routine. We're going to lift up, extending that left leg, placing that right leg over, and we are going to start with that QL, leaning our weight onto that left hand and just rolling forwards and backwards. You almost can see I'm at a slight angle with my hips. I'm not stacking them and they're not forward. They're almost slightly back, so that upper hip is rotated outwards. And I'm just using that leg to roll forwards and backwards. And if you find a little knot, you cross frictioning. Slow and controlled. And we're just going to do a few more rolls forward and back, and then we're going to lift that leg over, changing the angle slightly, going into our glute med and min muscles, and rolling up and down. As you can see, my leg is still off that ground, slowly rolling all the way and down. And just again, if you're feeling that knot, we cross frictioning. So leaning, you're changing the angle of that movement and really allowing that area to release all the way up and down. Keep going. And let's do 3 more. And last one. And from here, going down that side part of that thigh, going into that lateral quad and down that ITB, iliotibial band. A lot of you have heard of that band. Just rolling down, using arms and leg to control that movement up and down. And I found a little knot, so I'm going to cross friction, just leaning forward and back. So you're just rotating that weight forward and back, and slowly now we can bring that roller a little bit more down and just leaning in. Like I said again, if you're a little bit tender in that area, you can place more weight onto that foot and you can release and still get that movement. Try not to go through too much pain. You do want that nice release, but you don't want to overdo it and almost make yourself more sore by the end of the recovery session. We want to feel recovered and rested so that we are ready for our next exercise session. All right, let's just go a little bit lower and rolling up and down before we turn to do our hamstrings. And last one, turning over into a seated position. Roller is again in the middle of the mat. We're going to start with our leg on the floor so that we can bear the weight if we need to. Placing the roller just below our sits bone, that hard bone here, just below, as your glute max and hamstring kind of overlap or meet, and you're just going to roll forwards and backwards. We're going to do a few of these before we place our ankle on our knee into a figure 4 position. And again, you can place your hands how you feel comfortable. So you can just work that roller using both your foot and your two hands. Okay, and let's lift if you're up for it, if your hamstrings aren't too tender. And we're just going to roll forwards and backwards. This is adding extra weight onto that hamstring area. And it's allowing more pressure to reach that muscle. But like I said, if you're too tender, then don't put too much pressure on yourself to endure too much pain. Okay, and again, cross-frictioning. And remember, I don't want you rolling too close to that crease line of behind that knee. About 2 centimeters, that's where you stop. And just rolling. If you find a knot, you cross-frictioning. And let's do a few more. And we can progress to the front part of our legs. This one's going to be quite an interesting one. We're going to start with our quads. We're going to start in the upper part of our hip flexors or quad area, and then we're going to work our way back down. All right, so we're going to start with our right leg. Let me just turn around so you can see. And you're placing the roller in the middle of your mat. And I want the edge of the roller just to be on the inner part of your thigh. And you're going to lean into that roller. And again, you can see my back foot, it's doing all the work. You're also leaning and allowing the other leg to do the work. So you're just leaning forward and backwards, and you're rolling just about 2 centimeters below that hip area, and you're just rolling forward and backwards. We're working our way down towards our knees, but we're starting at the top, getting in, really digging into that muscle belly, and again, cross-frictioning if you find a little bit of a knot. But I want you to start, it's about feel your hip bone, sit just below that hip bone, and then lifting up and leaning a little bit more down and rolling backwards and forwards. My hands, my feet, my knees are doing all the work while I allow pressure onto that muscle area over the roller. Keep going, and if you're feeling strong, you can lift that foot and really apply that weight and that pressure onto that quad. I tend to struggle with my quads. I get quite tight quads a lot of the time, so I tend to do this quite frequently. I find that it loosens me up and allows that recovery process to occur a lot faster, so I can keep doing the things that I love, being active and doing exercise. And again, you don't want to go right over that kneecap. You're stopping a centimeter just above, but you're allowing that movement over that quad. Let's drop a little bit lower and all the way up and down. Okay, just remember you don't want to go too close to that kneecap, so it's just you're stopping just a centimeter before. And if you can just rotate the angle of your ankle and your knee just to get different angles of that lower quad or upper knee. As you can see, my foot is rotating around so I can get different angles. Now it's facing the floor, and again rotating to the other side. All right, so let's do that movement with that left leg. Same thing, starting, see my hip about a centimeter below, and bending that other leg and slowly rolling, working our way down. So just rolling up and down, keep going, and lifting up, taking that roller just a centimeter or two lower down that leg, and just rolling up and down. And if you're feeling strong, as I said, taking that foot off the mat and putting more weight onto that area it will increase that pressure, which will make it a little bit more sore well, not sore, but a little bit more tender. We don't want to use negative words. And slowly rolling yourself back down the roller down that leg and lifting. You can see again my arms are doing the work, pushing my body forwards and backwards. And again, if you find a tender spot, we just linger over it and we cross friction. Last little bit, a little bit more down that mat. And we are just above that kneecap now. Rolling forwards and backwards. We're going to rotate our toe outwards, just getting different angles of that quad and back downwards towards the floor and rotating it the other way. And there's a nice tender spot there for me, so I'm going to linger a little bit and hold and slowly lifting up off that. Well done, everyone. If you do have excessive injury, I would not recommend that you do this, but if you have muscular tightness, it's a very perfect routine that you can do to recover and make yourself feel better and stronger for your next session. So keep up the hard work, and I will see you in the next video. If you like that video, hit that like button, and if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.